Welcome to Numb Bills Fan Podcast, a live edition. Real quick, as always, we're brought to you by PunchdrunkSports.com. Most importantly, presented to you by BillsForLife.com, and all of our content is up at NumbBillsFan.com. And on the line with us, we have the great Takeo Spikes. Takeo, what's up, man?
What's going on, fellas?
Oh, we're just hanging, man. Thanks so much for coming on with us.
So what do you got?
Good, man. Looking forward to it.
What do you got going on with this book? I found it really interesting that you found yourself into photography, and we're guys who, this is pretty much like your punk rock podcast here. Like, we're guys who grew up, we became friends through music, and I found it really interesting that we heard you with John Murphy have some interviews, and we've always found you really fascinating because you not only had longevity in your career, but you've also found a passion outside of football, and you've also stayed so in tune and in touch with the game that you love. So, what happened to get this going?
Well, it started for me back in 2010 when I played in the international series with the San Francisco 49ers versus the Denver Broncos in London. I brought my camera on the plane, and a lot of guys was just joking with me, saying, "Spikes, you're too big to be having a camera." So, guys were making jokes, and I didn't mind. So when we got there, I took the first 3 to 4 days because we were there the entire week, and I took pictures of every monument. I took pictures of the changing of the guards. I even did little mock photo shoots with guys on the team. And by the time we played the game, jumped back on the plane, all of the guys, one guy came up to me. He said, "Let me see some of the shots." And then one guy turned into like 5 guys over my shoulder. And then like 3 guys turned in over, 3 more came. And then at the end of the day, all of the same guys who was joking with me about me taking pictures and I was too big to be taking pictures, those were the same guys who came to me and said, "Spikes, I like the shots. Can I get a copy, please?" And so for me, that really triggered my passion for photography after that.
Now, are you like a Nikon guy or a Canon guy? I understand my friend was a photographer for a bit, and he was a Nikon guy, so I don't know. Like, what kind of camera do you use?
I use the Canon 5D Mark III.
Nice.
Okay.
That's what I like to go around and shoot with that.
So, now I never thought I would honestly ever talk to I've had guys that ended up on IR from the Bills this year that were signed to like a 1-year deal. Like, I wish I could get a practice squad guy on this podcast with us. So, like, it's an honor that you're here. And I got to ask you something that I'm really wondering about. A little bit long-winded here. So, I have this thing with the number 30. And I also have a thing where when the collective bargaining agreement kind of changed, it changed, I forgot what year, about 5 years ago. And I thought that we would eventually in the NFL see, guys getting pretty much less time with the coaches, et cetera, et cetera. And now we're hitting the off season, and the Bills have a new coach in Sean McDermott. And as a Bills fan, we kind of go against the grain. We believe we just want to just objectively read the tea leaves, see what's going on, and not necessarily take the low-hanging fruit as a podcast. That's kind of our angle. Like, I really don't care to run the quarterback out of town when the defense was not up to snub. It's not. Do you follow what I'm saying? This offseason is here, and everybody wants to build up the team through the draft or through free agency or whatever. And you're a player that you played for so long, and you stayed in tune and in shape, and we see guys like Lorenzo Alexander come in and absolutely tear it apart because he's doing what he's asked to do. Do you believe in 30 like being the number? I feel that if I was to play GM, which I'm not, thankfully, I would rather have a guy that if the scouts would say is a little bit a half step slower, but is always doing what he's asked and in the right spot. I would rather have that guy than some dude who's green to the league that everybody thinks they could just like rotate players over. And next thing you know, the Bills have a bunch of coaching staff changes every 2 to 3 years, and it's exhausting because these guys don't get to adhere to one system. What's your theory? Do you think things are maybe going the other way, more towards veterans?
You know what? I don't know, but I do know this. You do need a good mix of veterans and young guys together in order to get what you want to accomplish, and that's to win the Super Bowl. And you know, I can speak for Sean McDermott as far as the type of coach he is. He's very attention to detail. He preaches all the time. Make sure you know your opponent better than they know themselves when it comes to tendencies, because I played up under him when I was in Philadelphia. So I know he's a real student of the game. And so I know, you know, he's going to make sure that all of the guys are in tune with that part by itself. But ultimately, overall, I think bottom line is, you know, as much as we hate seeing that carousel as far as guys coming in and out, coaches coming in and out, you know, Rex didn't work out. And I was one of the biggest Rex supporters out there because I felt like he was exactly what they needed as far as the personnel, what they already had. It didn't work out, and so, you know, it's just time to move on now.
Right, and we totally bought in to the idea of Rex Ryan coming here and you know, pumping this defense up. And we had so many talented players on the roster, and we saw so many guys be so explosive in so many different spots, but it just kind of felt like we were never firing on all cylinders. From a player's standpoint, what do you think the disconnect was there?
I mean, I don't know because I wasn't in the locker room, but I mean, just looking from the outside in, I mean, the disconnect, yeah, that's one. But then two, as a coach, I always think that you got to be able to relate to your players and keep their attention on what's most important. And that obviously didn't happen, and that's the reason why they kind of disappointed everybody this past year.
See, that brings me back to the collective bargaining agreement. Maybe I'm out of touch, obviously. You've played, and I'm 32 years old here, so I feel like I was the last. I do construction for a living, and I was like one of the last generations to really be talked to, frankly, like dog shit. And it had to have changed over in the coaching world now, where, you know, I'm not saying that people were being bad humans to me, talking to me how they did, but it's kind of like it's like a maturing process, like stuff you got to go through to thicken up the skin. And it's like I feel that it's really hard to be a professional athlete, and you're given, you know, I mean, Takeo, look where you were drafted. You have all these expectations, and you actually lived up to it, man. You're so rare. And it's like I feel like the pressure is so unreal, and that it's clouded with money. People think that these kids got to be like the best students ever and all this is and this and that, and it's like it's really hard to deal with when you're not there and you don't have as much time now with coaches. I kind of felt maybe that's why it didn't work out with Rex. I don't know, could I be wrong? He didn't have his own guys in there either to fuse up to help out that core, you know.
Well, I mean, he brought a lot of his coaches. He had the opportunity to bring all of the coaches with him, so I mean, that's really not an excuse. At the end of the day, bottom line, whenever you are paid a high amount of money to do a job, then the expectations are even higher than that money. And so that's part of what you sign up for, even though it's not actually written in the contract.
Right.
And that's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure, and that's the reason why I admire guys who are able to go out and not only play for a long time, but, you know, the guys who are able to continue to be perennial Pro Bowlers, the guys who are always nominated as team captain, because to me, I think that's one of the biggest honors, is just the fact that your peers are voting you as captain, and it's coming from your peers, and it's not altered in any type of way.
So from your book, do you have is there something that maybe a chip of information that can transcend maybe from something you heard from a player? I'm not trying to be random here, but if you could have gone back and done things different.
He's not gonna make you read it to us, but
like a common denominator of like life advice, you would say, or something that you really like picked up from in your book that we could look forward to reading.
I would probably say, before I get off and I got to go, that's a good question. I would probably say the one thing that really stood out for me creating my book, Behind the Mask, which, by the way, you can pick it up at behindthemaskbook.com, is all 12 guys had one defining moment to where the light bulb went off of them, and they decided to make a commitment to something that was way bigger than the block that they grew up on. And by those guys making those sacrifices, and a big part of it was just changing their current circumstances. A lot of guys grew up in poverty. Some guys in the book had to overcome obstacles as far as their parents being on drugs, but they still found a way to make it. And so for me, when I look at this book, the caveat to it is, it's from one player to another. That's one. Two, these guys shared their most intimate stories with me for an entire day. And most of the time when athletes or celebrities speak to reporters, they're only going to give you maybe 70-75% of the truth. These guys opened up to me, and I was able to share not only their story, but their secret of how did they become great, what made them an outlier. I was able to share that with the world, and I'm forever grateful for that, because they gave me an opportunity to share that.
Well, Takeo, thank you, man, for coming on here and really going behind the scenes and cutting it raw with these classic linebackers that, these are names that you'll never, ever forget in the history of football. You go back and watch NFL films as a kid and you see guys getting thrown on their head, So thank you so much for doing this. And again, as you were talking, we had a splash screen up on our Facebook Live video, and your link is up right now, behindthemaskbook.com.
Great trailer over at the website if you want more information about the book and the process behind creating it. And again, it looks incredible. You did a hell of a job putting it together. Forwarded by Dick LeBeau. I thought that was very cool in and of itself.
Yeah, it was. Got a lot of respect for him. He has a lot of respect for me, obviously. And I'm glad you mentioned the trailer, because that's one of the favorite things that I really enjoy about my book, is putting that trailer together, giving people some insight of what it really looked like when I was creating it.
Question for you, not to put you on the spot again. Did you do the video editing too?
No, I didn't do the video editing.
Oh, I don't know if you've ever tried. It's pretty. We've gotten addicted.
No, I have. I've done it before, but it's hard. It's tedious.
Yeah,
very tedious.
We're over here nerding out, loving that stuff.
Well, thanks, Takeo, man. You have a good night,
thanks,
and we'll keep pumping it up, bud.
All right.
See you, man. All right, so that was Takeo Spikes. That was pretty sweet.
Wow, man.
Yeah, why is he talking to us?
Yeah, that was pretty incredible, though.
Yeah, for real.
I really look forward to getting my hands on my copy of that book.
Yeah, the book sounds really interesting. I feel like the guys he interviewed, a lot of them, or I should say most of them, you come from a different time of sports where you had hockey players just literally the Flyers are going to start beating the shit out of each other. Okay, well, that's what we're going to do. And that was sports in the 70s. That was sports that trickled into the 80s. The roids come in. You get speed and power. And, I mean, look at sports in general. They've all gotten softer. Football's gotten softer. Basketball's gotten softer. Baseball's always been soft. So it's like, unless they're Pete Rose in an All-Star game. But, man, not even trying to be corny here, I'm pretty stoked to see what this book has to offer as far as insight behind the scenes and how we can apply it to life, I would say, because what's cool about, as an adult, picking up hockey late in life, it's cool being in a team environment and understanding what people's roles are on a team, and it helps you in life. Like me, I've always had a hard time working with people. Shocker. It helps me learn where I stand amongst a group of people and when to talk, when not to. And, you're going to hear stories about these linebackers that have had to fight through a lot of adversity to get to where they're at, like Takeo was talking about, at just coming off the block, So, fighting adversity makes us all stronger. At the same time, hopefully it doesn't kill you. So I'm pretty stoked to see what this book really has entail, and hopefully it's inspirational to a lot of people, because I don't know, sometimes we all get down, life beats us up. Hear some stories about some linebackers throwing quarterbacks on their head.
Yeah, and you know what, man? I didn't get to it when we had him on the line, but it says on the cover of that book, Linebacker Edition. I wonder if there's going to be more of the same, because the format is just awesome, because again, he's just a creative dude, and he's out there with a passion for photography. So I mean, it's as visually stunning as it is compelling to read. So.
And this organically came together for him. He's getting ripped on by the dudes. Like, what are you doing with that camera on your 20-inch neck? What are you doing? No, I don't know. Like, stop. So,
you know what? I wouldn't criticize the dude. That's just me. I mean, super nice guy just now on the phone, but
yeah, pretty cool guy.
I wouldn't bust his balls about taking pictures. I'd just be like, all right, man.
Yeah, for real.
I'll smile, say cheese, whatever you need, man. I know what you're capable of. I've seen you on that pass rush. I don't want none of that. And you know what? He was such a great complete linebacker. He could rush the passer. He could stuff the run. He could play coverage out there, making these diving interceptions. That one on Tom Brady back in 2003.
What were you telling me about that game with Belichick?
Well, no, Belichick said it at one point that, after that loss, it opened his eyes to, like, what he needed to do to win with that Patriots team. And, well, I believe him. It looks like he figured it out, the prick. All respect due, I mean.
Yeah, look, the Bills shut him out, and they won the Super Bowl this year. The Bills give him a goose egg. Tom Brady's back. Oh, great. Now, not for nothing, I got thinking about that game a little bit more. Are you telling me that game wasn't fixed? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anybody interesting saying anything?
Oh, I don't know. I was looking at Tinder. I don't even
know. Oh.
No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
So, I'm pretty stoked for life right now, and I can't wait to see what this offseason brings. We've been having our own little offseason here for a couple of weeks. We've been just chilling out. So if you've been checking our podcast feed, we're sorry. We do still have plans to we got a dog, Tim Avery, from the Bug Jar fame. If you ever played the Bug Jar, he's booked everything over here in Rochester for that. Great ass dude. He is going to help us analyze and break down the Senior Bowl, because I don't know anything about it. And he called me when I was at work on a Saturday, and he's like, hey, man, it's going to go up to the bar and watch the Senior Bowl. You want to watch it with me? And I'm like, wait, you're really going to watch that?
So he's going to let us know who to watch for with this draft coming up. And, hopefully, today's the day where guys can start getting franchise tagged, and the decision on Tyrod's coming up. Hopefully some of this dust settles pretty soon, and we can start to really feel out what the positions of need are heading into this draft. Because right now I have no idea what this team's going to look like in the fall. I don't know who's here and who's not. It feels like we're going to lose a lot of guys.
I don't know, man.
Before it's all said and done.
All I know is I don't think I don't want to say it.
'Tis the season, man.
I don't think I want to. I'm gonna regret this, but I don't think I want a quarterback at 10. If they're really eyeing Watson, I don't know if I want that. I don't know. I don't know enough information. I don't have enough information. And if you're gonna grab a receiver at 10, I don't have enough information. Again, I don't think you should, because the way I look at it is the offense worked. You have enough pieces on the offense, and if you're gonna keep Tyrod Taylor, which I think they will, I think you're nuts if you're not starting Tyrod Taylor. I think you're absolutely nuts. He's not much money. Don't even bust my balls about it. But allegedly, even he was saying in the media with John Murphy, he was saying and during the Super Bowl week, let's see what's all in my contract. Now, when a player says that really means that where the smoke is, and that is true. We're seeing what's all in my contract. But keep in mind, everybody's going to be playing both sides of it. Now, the Bills could be putting out there, we're targeting Watson. Hey, whatever. You're targeting dude. That's the information you want to put out. Maybe Tyrod Taylor comes back to the table. Who knows?
Truthfully, with the condition of the roster as it is right now, I think the Bills want to look at best player available. If it fits maybe their top 2 positions in need. If not, you know who I want at 10? Nobody. Trade back, get the picks.
If you could find somebody who wants to trade with you,
Well, yeah, I mean, that obviously there's no guarantees on what you can and can't get, but someone's usually looking to move up into that top 10. So we're right on the cusp of where we might be able to, pull something nice.
I just hope that
move back, get a second rounder, third rounder, whatever.
I just hope that whatever happens at 10, it helps with impacting the team this year. I've said it a lot lately. I will never forget a recent interview with Drew Bledsoe and John Murphy, and Drew Bledsoe was talking about guys like McGahee and, frankly, a backup quarterback and J.P. Lossman getting drafted, and how those 2 pieces could not immediately help the team when he was there. And, I don't know if there's a defensive back at 10. I don't know anything about the draft right now. I like to go. I feel like the draft is so far away and people are doing so much unnecessary, at least to me. I'm not really into I'm into the draft, but I like to go in steps. Right now, what I'm waiting for free agency to hit, A week before free agency, see what rumors start running around. Combine, see what rumors start flying around. You hit your free agency, right? Next thing you know, you got holes filled. Now you can reorganize your mock draft charts, because why take in information that doesn't matter? Why? That's how I look at it. Now, when you listen to draft shows, what do you hear about? You hear constantly about first-round picks. So the way I look at it is, well, line up 60 of those guys.
Yeah.
Line up 60 of them, and hopefully the Bills can get one of those 60 or 2 of those high 40 picks or best-rated guys in the top 2 picks they have, So it's so weird to project the draft, for me at least right now. If you're looking for great draft coverage and stuff like that, check out cover1.net. Any kind of coverage you need, cover1.net, as far as X's and O's and deep cuts. You want to go deeper, you want to educate yourself about the game. I learned so much watching Eric's videos, and he's got a hell of a team over there. Nate Geary's working with him, and really just I can't do the draft right now. Not right now. I just can't.
Yeah.
I love free agency because I love to see these later guys. Now look, mid-round guys. I love the draft because I love to see what they get. Like, I'm really intrigued. But like, I'm not going to study 1,000 players. I'm just not going to. It's not happening. So what happens is by the time the draft comes, I'm oversaturated with the draft. So I try to keep it as fresh as possible. I try to take in information that don't matter. I'd rather read interesting lists of free agents right now that are going to be on the cheap, that are like, line me up everybody coming off their first contract. The Bills have brought in guys off their first contract a lot who have produced very well. And honestly, those are the guys I'm interested in. The guys who are 24 to 26 to 25 that are going to play in the system for 3-4 years, see what's up, maybe to get another contract. You know, that's, to me, that's more intriguing than like talking about like Jim Kelly's nephew. Sorry, I don't care about Chad Kelly because unless weed's legal, I don't know, man. Like,
by the way,
what?
Not invited to the combine. Yeah, because of off-field issues, not invited.
Come on.
So I don't know. That makes me wonder a little bit. I don't want another guy who's going to be blowing off playing football, but at the same time, not getting invited to the combine, his stock drops. If we can get him undrafted, fine, so be it.
I'd rather have a guy who's already gone through rehab already, like Johnny Manziel. So,
stop.
Bring in Manziel. You heard it here first. Bring him in, Doug.
What, you need a helper? You need a helper sanding drywall again?
Yeah, I do. Yo, Johnny. Hey, man.
We got a job for you.
Hour away from Buffalo, dude. You can always make money. I know you're a California boy.
Construction, you know. It's hard work, but so is football. You got the frame for it, dog. If my fat ass can get out there and help, you can do something.
You don't help me at all, so.
Yeah, well.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No,
you haven't.
Oh, I've painted some things. I've drywalled some things. I've done some plumbing. I've done some electrical. I wouldn't hire me, but I've done it.
Look, anything with time and promises, don't. If it's on a pay, don't lend them money. Don't lend them money.
Lend me some money.
All right, lend them some. All right, so
look at me. I'm starving.
Adam.deacon.gofunddeacon.com.
Just PayPal it to me. Don't make me humiliate myself any more than I already have.
So I don't know what anybody's opinions are really about this upcoming offseason, if they should build to the draft. I was trying to get that out of Takeo a little bit, which is like what are, that number 30. I really believe that's a thing.
Yeah.
Think, let me run this by you.
All right, let's hear it.
So if a guy gets hurt at 28 years old, right?
Yep.
And then he takes, an ACL, they say that guys aren't the same. I mean, Adrian Peterson is an anomaly. They say it takes guys 2 years, or used to take 2 years for them to be 100%. And it makes me wonder, if a guy gets hurt at 28 or even 29 or 30, and they have that injury, well, now by the time you come back, well, here he is. He's a 30-year-old linebacker. Oh, here he is. He's a 30-year-old running back. Oh, here he is. He's a 30-year-old this. He's he's getting close to 30, or he's over 30, and it's like, how many guys do you see that are super athletes and they can't get it together? And then you get guys like Lorenzo Alexander who they do with their ass. I mean, you even look at Elijah Duzavo. He did what he was asked to do. A very good football player. And Zach Brown did what he was asked to do. They come in and they do their job. And Zach Brown wasn't as old, but Alexander is really making the point on that. I don't know how it works with the vet minimums with the cap, because I am also pretty sure that obviously, you get a guy who doesn't have a veteran minimum, he's a lot cheaper than a vet, so there's also that. The draft, I don't like to depend on potential. That's what the draft is you're betting on potential. But if you look at teams like the Patriots, if you want to throw it in there, which you can say the drafts just suck, but they have a lot of contributing mid-round, late-round, fourth-round picks, fifth-round picks. Obviously, Tom Brady's sixth-round pick over the years. And I really think it comes down to smart football players who's going to do the work.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. IQ is not all you need, but it can get your team real far, especially if you got some guys who are used to winning. And all this Cardale Jones talk, I think that got blown way out of proportion, because the article came out about Whaley said Jones could be a starter, but there was no actual quote of Whaley saying that. Vic Carucci put the article out from Buffalo News. And, I mean, we've mentioned things of his before where we were like, yeah, it seems a little misconstrued. Everyone has their opinion, whatever. But I just almost feel like that was, like, something that might have been, like, taken right away from its, like, original context. Because that's one of those things where he might say, oh, yeah, I think Cardale Jones has all the physical attributes to be successful in this league. He could be a starter in this league with his size and his arm. Something like that, and that gets twisted around into like, oh yeah, he could be our starter. I mean, what's the guy supposed to say? We wanted to burn up a 4th round pick for no good reason. Like, we're gonna toss this guy in the dumpster in 2 years. Like, ha ha ha. No, like, yeah, he drafted the dude. Of course, he saw potential there. Is he ready? I don't think so, and I honestly don't think he thinks so either. So, I guess as a public service announcement for the off season, stay objective, read between the lines. Remember, sometimes these guys just gotta go out there and say the team phrases. You know what I mean? They gotta go out there and read the script to be quite frank about it.
And listen, the day the Bills season ends, everything from now until the end of the draft was a lie. Don't believe anything. The Bills are looking for a quarterback at 10. Okay, of course they are. Like, of course they're going to take a look. You know what you're going to start hearing now in Pro Football Talk? I guarantee you, it's almost that season where you're going to start hearing people answer questions about the Bills needing to build a fucking stadium. Oh, excuse my French, but to build a stadium. And I'm so sick of hearing it. The Bills were, they got to compete. Shut up. No, stop. Don't tell me they need to build a stadium because you care about attendance, you care about this. When you're going to have the Chargers play, like, in some dump, like some small-ass arena in L.A., and you're having the Oakland Raiders forever playing in that Oakland Stadium, which supposedly they're moving to Vegas. But it's like, I don't want to hear that the Bills need a new stadium. They don't. They don't need anything, okay? Until people stop going to the games, they don't need anything. I'm sorry. I think the location's fine. What, you want to go downtown? You want to move a stadium downtown? You want to get in that talk? I'm sure they're planning on that.
Hell no. I want to go out to Hammer's Lot, to the Red Pinto Tailgate. I want to go to New Era, formerly the Ralph, formerly Rich, formerly whatever you want, whatever you feel more comfortable calling it. I want to be in Orchard Park. They're not going to let all this shit that we do before the game fly downtown.
Don't buy into it. Everything is lying season. I mean, you have to really, if you want to connect dots, you have to go on websites like cover1.net. Find out what schemes that McDermott likes to run, that Rick Dennison, the offensive coordinator, has run, what Leslie Frazier has done. Just to name Leslie Frazier alone, look into it. You're going to see Tony Dungy connect. I remember when Leslie Frazier was the hot coaching candidate when he was under Childress in Minnesota. Before he even, got the job in Minnesota, he was as head coach when Childress was relieved of his duties. He was even touted as being a hot candidate. Oh, this is, and he kind of got a shit luck of the deal at quarterback. Really, in his record, Leslie Frazier's record wasn't good in Minnesota. But look who you're shouting out there, Christian Ponder, by the way, the Bills liked. Scary thought.
Yeah, and then, you want to talk about records not being great. I feel like 80% of you Bills fans at one point were like, we should hire Jim Schwartz to be our head coach. Look at his record. His record was crap. It doesn't really speak to what he does as a coordinator. So,
right.
Let's take this. Let's take this one step at a time here, see what we got. When we're done here, if you didn't catch it at the beginning, play the video back, listen to Takeo Spikes. He had nothing but high praise for Sean McDermott and his work ethic. They crossed paths in 2007 in Philadelphia. He was the DB's coach there. Next year, he became the linebackers coach, and then the defensive coordinator the following year, right up until he went to the Carolina Panthers. So,
look,
I mean, I'll take Takeo Spikes' word for it.
Don't forget, check out that book. And behindthemaskbook.com, and for the audio listeners, behindthemaskbook.com, behindthemaskbook.com. Really rad cover. All the photos are taken by Takeo Spikes himself. He got into how he got into photography. Really rad.
Yeah, if you missed Takeo at the top of our show, he was on with us for probably about the first 10 or 11 minutes there. He had a meeting he had to get to, but we appreciate him coming on so much. And, you know, it was almost surreal when that phone rang. And he's like, "Hey, guys, it's Takeo." I was like, no way. So, very fortunate to have been able to get him on to tell us about this book. I'm psyched to read it.
And as always, thank you to Bills for Life for putting this on. And to you audio listeners out there, every 7 p.m.-ish, we say ish because we might have technical difficulties.
Or we might have an awesome guest and, you know, have to bump it back an hour.
Right. We bumped back an hour to 6, got moved a little bit. But, hey, everybody's schedule's hectic around the world. But
that's all right, because if you miss it live, it's still out there. You can watch it when you're done. Leave a comment. I might comment back. I usually do. I always try to.
PunchDrunkSports.com. They have a podcast where it's like 3 comedians talking to general sports. Ari Shafir, Jason Tebow, and Sam Tripoli. They just had Steve Renazizi on after the Super Bowl from the guy from the league. Really awesome podcast.
I love that show, man. I really do.
Yeah, it's a great show.
I really appreciate the shit out of the writing on that.
Yeah, I was just watching Family Guy and old news, but they had Gronk on there. It was hilarious. Like how they drew in Gronk as like the biggest partying douchebag. I was like, oh my god,
nailed it.
It was so awesome. I mean, hey, I want to party with Gronk, but
you party with Gronk.
NumbBillsFan.com. Find me on Twitter at NumbBillsFan.
I'm on Twitter at NumbBillsAdamD.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
We're out. Takeo Spikes again. Thank you so much for everything. Really appreciate it.
There's that website again. Go check that book out.
Man, we were scraping to get like a practice squad guy on or something.
Yeah, we thought we would have to beg for like an undrafted like reject guy who got cut, you know, on the first day of cuts, and we ended up getting, you know, first round pick.
Top half of the draft.
Yeah, man, 13th overall, man. So, Takeo, thank you again. And best of luck with everything with the book, man.
Take care.